Okay, let's go healthy.
Okay, so healthy version is how do you make somebody obsessed with you? I would say, when you say obsessed, do you want them to marry you or do you want them to just chase you and not marry
Let's
you?
go marry. Okay, so before we actually start, guys, I am so excited about this episode because this topic I am genuinely interested in. In front of us is one of the or the only matchmaker in the Philippines, US certified. Please welcome Coach Vee.
Hi, Kylie. Thank you for having me here at Almost Honest Podcast.
Thank you so much. Was there any significant moment in your life where you were like, okay, gagawin ko to?
Yes, absolutely, Kylie. And I remember being 13 years old,
Okay.
first year high school, and I had a big crush, not with my classmates, but my professor.
This is so interesting.
So I always admired, like, more mature men because I feel
Okay.
like they're intelligent and they
Yeah.
already had their life together. And so when I ask myself if there's one topic that I'd like to dive in and really read about it, spend a lot of hours, even if I don't get paid, I was like, what would that be? That would be dating and love. Love in
Okay.
relationship.
Okay.
So as early as my teen years, I was already reading books such as, Steve Harvey's book. It's called.
Why men
So Steve Harvey's book is Act Like a Lady,
think like a man? I love that book.
And then you also have Why Men Love
Bitches.
Bitches.
Bible.
Yes,
Bible.
absolutely. And needs to be contextualized so that they don't think like, oh, you're teaching women how to be bitches. No,
No, I super
it's
love
about
the book.
self-respect and
Exactly.
self-worth. And among many, and then of course you have like, women are from Venus, like.
Men are from Mars.
Yes. So
Okay.
I love that. I've read those books already in high school, and I was like, after high school, then I started learning how to read more on journal papers,
Okay.
in college.
Okay.
And my professor would tell me like, oh, you can't do this as a thesis topic. I was like, but this is what I'm passionate about, relationship. And back then, they're not very open to that because they
Okay.
my course was consular and diplomatic affairs. Why are you studying relationships?
Yeah.
And then even during my master's, it's just unheard of to do research papers on relationships in the Philippines because unlike in other countries, they study love and relationship intensively. Here, I feel like the Philippines were still in the survival mode that
Yeah.
we have to study traffic. We need to study, money and all that stuff. But I love love, so that's how I started.
That's so interesting to me. What do you think makes Filipino dating different from the other cultures you see? Like, how is it so different from mga foreign cultures?
Yes, Kylie, just imagine this. My mom was telling me during their time, when they are seen out with a man, the expectation is that's gonna be your boyfriend already.
Okay.
There is no concept of dating, which is essentially the concept of dating is getting to know a person. Because by the end of the day, your health, your finances, your mental health will suffer if you pick the wrong partner.
That's so true. I've been reading online, the most important decision you're going to make is the person you choose to marry
You're
or the
right.
person you choose to be with. Is there like a science-backed research on that? And by
Yes.
the way, can you give them a background of what you studied?
Sure. Thank you. So before I answer that, I've always been curious about human nature. I feel like more than any other field, once you master human beings, you can do well in life. Because by the end of the day,
That's so true.
you deal with human beings on a daily basis. And if there's one thing that I feel that human beings need more than more than food, money, water, and all that
That's
stuff,
love.
I feel like a lot of people will do anything for
For
love.
love.
And so I want to be that person who gives that to them. So that was the initial motivation. But just like many other college kids, I didn't know what to take in college. And there goes my dad saying like, oh, just take international relations. I was like, okay, international relations. I see myself working overseas, so go for it. There's consular and diplomatic affairs in College of St. Benilde. But then during that time, we were taught, how countries interact. And then after that, I was like, this is the time that I want to follow my heart. It's always been psychology. So I took psychology and then later on shifted and graduated with a Master's of Sociology in De La Salle University.
Okay.
And I was doing research on relationships, as I was telling a while ago. So that has been my background. At 23 years old, when I started my first job, I thought that we don't have a decent way to meet, people that is filtered, back then I was single, my friends were single, we were already working, so we thought, we need to meet like decent people.
So how do you meet a guy during our time at 23? Like
at
how
23,
do you,
we were coming from all-girls school. Did you study all-girls school?
No, I came from an all-guys school, actually.
What do you mean you came from an all-guys school?
My high school was an all-guys school.
Talaga?
Yeah, in Baguio. I'm like from the province.
And then it opened up, it became co-ed. Is that what happened?
And then I went to school in Ateneo. So La Salle, Ateneo.
I know.
So co-ed, but I was like a very good girl.
You're a very good girl.
Yeah, I was a very good girl.
And just like you, Kylie, my friends are like that. We had this dream of first and last. We don't want to have a lot of boyfriends. We just want to have a boyfriend, get married, and settle down.
Totoo pa ba yun? Like, is this dream still true?
So this dream stood true to me and my friend. We were actually four. Two of us did the first and last. But after 10 years of having that fantasy, I would say it's not really the best decision to do first and last, because sometimes you cannot.
Why not?
Yeah, you cannot, like, the first person that you get into a relationship with when you don't have any relationship skills, basically your first encounter, sometimes it's not the best relationship that you'd have in your life. Sometimes the best relationship happens later on in life.
True. That's true.
When you're equipped and when you have a lot of experience.
Because I feel like after relationship, you learn more kung ano yung gusto mo, kung ano yung ayaw mo, and then you apply it onto the next. Is that right?
I agree with you. Did you have that that fantasy of first and last before?
No, because I never really liked my first. I was like, ito na ba yun?
Oh, there you go. There
yeah.
you go. So I would not, I mean, it is very, you're very lucky if you're able to do that. But if you just force it for the sake of doing it, I mean, I would not recommend, because by the end of the day, you need to find your person. And sometimes the first one is not the best one. Sorry.
That's so true. That's so true. Okay, so I saw in your bio, which really interested me. You pair. Can you tell me more about this matchmaking thing?
Right.
Like, this is like a new concept to me, because I don't really see matchmakers in the Philippines.
You're right.
And you said you match Filipino girls to mga AFAMs. So let's go fly high, Pinay.
Or fly high, Pinay. And fly high, Pinay in a different way. Because right now, I don't like how Filipinas are being represented overseas.
That's so true.
Let's talk about reality shows. What are the reality dating shows that you can see overseas? You have Love Island now. But before that, I've seen the 90-Day Fiancé thing wherein... Have you watched 90-Day Fiancé, Kylie?
No, I haven't.
My love. Have you heard
Talaga?
of No Neck Ed?
No,
Not yet.
Oh my God.
Okay, I'll tell you the story. So, my love, the way that the Filipinas are being represented overseas.
I've seen. Oh my God.
Yeah.
What is this line? You're perfect. What is the? Huh? I like the view. No, may nag-trending na line eh. What is the trending line?
Is that bago lang or before?
Yung 90-Day Fiancé.
What? I like
Your road.
Your
road.
See? So the way that Filipinas are being represented overseas is we are this poor, skinny woman who would go for any AFAM, any
so
fat,
true.
white American guy for the
That's
sake
so
of visa.
true.
And my gosh, if you come to the Philippines and if you are in the right circle, that is not what Filipinas are. There's so many successful, beautiful, fit Filipinas
No,
in our
that's so true.
country who are
One,
sometimes
two.
even richer than these AFAMs.
That's so true.
So,
Why
so
do
my
we
love.
make them feel good about themselves, these AFAMs? Like, why? Okay, question. Why do AFAMs like Filipinas?
Okay, so that's a very good question, because the reason why, and the reason that we know, because on a daily basis we speak with these AFAMs
Okay.
coming here in the Philippines because they want to find a wife. Because first, one of the stories like, oh, because I would ask them like, why Filipina of all?
Yeah.
They'll be like, well, because I had a friend who is married to a Filipina, and he's very happy with a very happy family. I was like, okay, good reason. What else? Well, I understand the Filipino culture and they identify with my value because I'm family oriented and I want to, to be with a woman who also values family. Because unlike in other countries, some, especially right now, some of them career is the priority and then not family life.
This is so interesting to me. So, does that mean they like Filipino women because yung priority nila is family instead of having a
We're
career?
very hopeless romantic, I feel like. That once we find the love of our life, we don't
Sila na.
have, yes, we don't even think twice about, do I give up my career or do I raise a family? Like, it's always been family.
Hindi ba ganun sa ibang culture?
So,
I'm curious.
It
Let's
really
say
depends
Europeans
upon-
or the US
Correct.
or...
So it really depends upon the culture that we're talking about, but most of our clients are coming from America and Europe. And based on what what I'm hearing from them is, and this is the number one reason why AFAMs are coming to the Philippines. It's
Why?
because of our femininity.
Our femininity.
Yes.
That is so true. Okay, so you were talking about the number one reason why AFAMs like Pinays is
Because of our femininity.
because of our
And this is their exact line. This
You
is
know
how
what?
they say it. I feel like the femininity of Filipinas are still intact. That is the line that I often hear from these successful, foreigners who intend to find a life partner in the Philippines.
You know
I'm-
what?
Yeah.
That's so true. Kasi yun din yung talagang naririnig ko. Like, I have a partner, I'm
Okay.
guilty. I have a partner who's an AFAM, and he says the same thing about
Okay.
Filipinas.
Talk to us about it.
Yeah, about Filipinas, that we're very feminine. So I get the whole I get the whole point. So tell me more about this femininity.
Femininity. So part of a big part of the femininity that they're talking about is how we carry ourselves and how we think about like family life as well. So let's talk about like how Filipinas carry themselves. Like I feel like it's different per person, but compared to many races, I feel like we are more on like they have this notion that we are agreeable. Like we tend to say yes. But that's why I had this reel, Kylie, that trended because I said, well, they thought that we are submissive, but they haven't met
Oh my
the rest of us.
No, that's so true. I think I saw that. But
Yeah, but
I'm, for example, like, I think I'm feminine, but I'm also very opinionated.
strong-headed, yes.
So I love voicing out my
Absolutely.
objections and my opinions, and like we argue sometimes. So like, how do I balance my femininity with?
And my love, that's still femininity, because for me, femininity is a balance of warmth, being
Okay.
girly, being playful, but
Okay.
at the same time, boundaries. You can't be
Okay.
just a pushover,
Okay.
or else the man will not respect you.
Okay.
So you could be mad and you could disagree, but it's how you say it. How do
Okay,
you,
I like this.
How do you become mad and disagree? Do you like get a bottle and throw it on the head, hit the head
Okay,
of your
okay.
partner, or you just say, "Love, I'm sorry, I don't agree with you."
Okay,
But
okay.
still, like a baby girl.
Okay, I
You
like
talk.
this. I like this. So, okay, so is there a right way to get mad?
Is there a right way to get mad?
Yeah, is there a right way to
well,
get
I've
mad?
never been asked this
Yeah, is
question.
there a
I
right
love
way
this.
to get mad?
I feel like women will get more of what they want if they know how to get mad
In the
like a
right
girl
way.
and not get mad like a man.
Okay, so how's getting mad like a girl? Like,
Getting mad like a girl is talking about your how you feel instead of blaming and fighting and being competitive.
okay.
So it looks like I don't feel very well because of what you did. Again,
Because how
I'm
you
talking
made
about
me feel?
yeah, it's like I'm not going to say it's how you made me feel, but what I'm going to say like what happened made me feel like I'm not important. Like it's more on how and men, especially the ones who are more masculine, they love emotions. They don't like drama, but they
Okay.
like seeing emotions from women.
Okay.
So it's okay to like cry. It's okay to
They
be
love
like
it when you cry. Like when I don't get what I want, I'm gonna cry. Like this is the moment I will cry.
what made you say they love it when we cry?
Because
I
soft,
agree.
like
Yes, baby girl.
push comes to shove.
Yes, you
you
said
pre-
it perfectly.
right?
It's the softness
Okay.
that is missing in, according to them. Don't shoot the messenger. That's missing in other women from other parts of the world. It's that despite us Filipinas going through so much in life, we still have that softness in us. And it shows like the way that we carry ourselves, the way that we talk to children, the way that we love our parents, the way that we
Okay.
support them. Like where else in the world can you see that sort of like lifetime loyalty wherein even if we're already out of the house, they don't force us to support them, but then we just want to give back. The That's why when one of the AFAM asked me like how can I find like a good Filipina woman, I said find a breadwinner.
Okay.
It talks to you about a woman's family orientedness in that utang de loob, that a lot of generations right now, mataas na yung sense of entitlement. But if you have utang na loob towards your parents, wherein you don't really have to help them, but we feel like that's our parents. Of course, we're gonna help them, and that's beautiful for a lot of foreigners. Even if sometimes they get scared because oh that means I also have to support your
Yeah.
family, and sometimes that's being misconstrued as gold digging. You know, there are reels that are coming out of the internet that when you invite a Pinay daw for like a meal, she brings her whole family. You see
Yeah.
yung the stigma. But then when I talk to the foreigner, I orient them on the cultural part. So we're not only matchmaking, we're doing a lot of cultural intelligence
Okay.
part.
So
We're in
you're basically guiding them through the culture of the Philippines,
absolutely
which
so
is very family oriented.
yes, and because if you don't understand the culture of the Philippines, you can, like, for example, that act when they bring the family, that could be misconstrued as, oh, that's gold digging because you want me to pay for all of your family.
That's true.
But if you really think about it, the reason why they have the whole family is because in the Philippines, I cannot date you if my family doesn't love you.
That's true.
You have to not only make ligaw of me, court me, but also court my family, my friends, my office mates, and the people around me. We are a collectivist culture. And if you are a foreigner coming from a very individualistic culture, that's something that they need to get their head around it. So we teach them about the cultural thing so that they are not culture shocked and they will not also offend a Filipina, and the Filipina also will be better understood. So the likelihood of them, having that mutual understanding is high.
Okay. I've experienced some, like, I've had friends who've experienced some Filipinos, though, who are, sorry to say it, but like real gold diggers.
Absolutely. There's
Yes?
many of that
Okay,
here as
so
well.
there are, and how do you spot them from like someone really trying to look for love? And how do you deal with a gold digger?
So
Can you
now-
spot them? Can you smell them? Because I feel like I can.
You
But like,
can.
right? I feel like I can. Can you?
I mean, at this point, 12 years in the industry, I need
How
to
to
spot.
spot a
Yes,
gold
I need to
digger.
spot them right now because those are the type of women that I need to, avoid for my clients.
So meron talaga.
Meron talaga, marami.
Marami, no?
There's a lot of women also in our country who tries to take advantage foreigners. And I'm not very proud of that. But what I'm saying
Okay.
is, we have that kind of women, but we also have a lot of women who you can be proud
I like
of.
that.
And who are genuinely finding like a partner who's maybe their attraction is towards like a foreigner, so let them be. But if you look at them, they already have visas. They don't need your visas. But let's talk about the gold diggers one. So sometimes they could be very subtle, but some of them kasi flat out like obvious, like nakakahiya.
Oo. Madami
Like,
talaga.
Yes. So these are the ones that every date there needs to be GCash. And every date there needs to be some sort of buy me this, buy me. I mean, if you have
Oh
a rich
my
partner,
God.
go for it. But my love, do not
GCash?
be flat out. Ano naman, very, like if your partner is rich and generous, they will eventually invest in you, but do not be too in a rush. Like you're just on a first date, second date, you're expecting your partner to bring you to all this, Chanel places already. I mean, they will invest if they already care for you. So, you look at the time when they're too in a rush so women could love bomb you, and gold diggers do love bomb foreigners a lot.
So guys, that's how you spot a gold digger. So sa mga iwasan nyo yan to my AFAM
Friends.
to my AFAM friends, that's how you spot a gold digger. But there's so many,
There's
no?
so many, and they have different strategies.
Oh my
So-
God. You know, some even involve the whole family.
How? Talk to us
Yeah,
about it.
Yung,
Paano yung buong family?
parang yung mom pa yung naglalakad sa daughter.
Tapos?
And then siya yung nagpa-push sa daughter. And then,
yes.
diba?
Yes, these are classic stories that we've been hearing before, especially in provinces.
Okay.
Wherein the foreigner is sometimes old already, old, fat, and looking for somebody to parang pagsisilbihan sila. And that's like the one that I cringe. I was like, the Philippines is not just about that. We're not, please don't come here if you're looking for a slave.
That's so true.
We are
That's
a
so true.
wife.
That's
We're
so
not
true.
slaves. It's already 2025.
Speaking about intercultural relationships, what is one of the biggest issues that are faced with like a Filipina woman and an AFAM?
And in their relationship.
Yeah. Is it culture? What are the biggest problems?
So the biggest problem is really the cultural differences, because Filipinas would also assume that the foreigners think like them, which is foreigners think very differently
That's so true.
from us. Why are you saying it's so true? What's your hugot, Kylie?
Kasi nga,
An example.
because I'm also dating
Yes.
a foreigner,
Mhm.
and it really in the beginning it was difficult because it's different cultures.
Mhm.
He would be very direct, and
There you go.
I am very soft.
Yes.
So like, let's say when he says something, I take it very personally. Let's just like stuff like that, or
Right.
I don't express my feelings, but he's he
very open about how he feels about you.
yes. So more of like
I love that.
yeah, tama ba yun?
Yes, tama yun, Kylie, because we
His
have this,
conversation or like communication style was just like really off.
diba? Because let's talk about the concept of pakipot.
Okay.
Women, like Filipina women, I feel like sometimes even if we're already interested to, a man, we still want to feel as if they work hard to get us.
Okay.
Unlike them, sometimes if I like you, I like you.
Tama.
Let's be boyfriend and girlfriends. Like literally, like that's why, like in my experience, I had to be asked like a number of times before I said yes, because hello, that's not how you ask a Filipina to be your
Okay,
girlfriend. We
tama,
don't just
tama.
like chat and then we become in a relationship. You learn how to make ligaw, learn how
Tama.
to court, and courtship for many foreigners
It's like
is not something that they're used to do. But some of them are happy to learn it, and that's what we teach foreigners as well.
I had to ask my boyfriend to be like, here in the Philippines, you have to ask a girl if you want to be her girlfriend.
Absolutely. You don't
Right?
just assume yes, because sometimes they just assume, right? You hang
We're
out and
together.
then you're together. No, you did not ask me.
Yeah.
You did not ask my family. You did not ask my best friend and my brothers.
That's so true.
You need to ask the whole
Kailangan
team.
tanungin, di ba?
Yes.
Ako talaga, we're not together unless you ask.
So that, my love, is femininity reflected in boundaries. Because if you're just say, oh, okay, I'll do it like the Americans do. Ladies, they are in our country. Teach them how to woo you.
That's true. And if you don't let them know, you can be so confused. I feel like this
Yes.
is where a situationship can happen because parang tayo ba or hindi?
Yes,
'Di ba?
correct.
'Di ba parang sa mga AFAM, kami na pero
Oo.
wala tayong reassurance na
Na ikaw talaga.
oo.
Especially Kylie, and to be very honest, it's a different experience when the foreigner has been here in Manila for a number of years, because some of them do experience the rock star syndrome, which they don't back in their country.
Oh, that's so true. Ang ibig sabihin ng rockstar syndrome, feeling guwapo.
In a nutshell.
Feeling guwapo.
Kasi nga,
no?
my love, pag nasa States sila, very
Normal.
typical, normal. But when they come here, the Pinay sometimes,
Rawr, they're like
yes,
all
AFAM.
over.
And their dating apps like blows up with like 500, 1,000 matches. So they feel like, yes, I'm the hot stuff here. That's why for women, when they come to me and say, Coach Vee, I can't find like a decent relationship-oriented AFAM sometimes already here. I was like, well, because you haven't met my clients. No, just not just that, but also if you have the resources to date overseas, where they are from, you have a high chance of meeting somebody that is also relationship-oriented abroad. Because sometimes when they're here, I mean, they want to enjoy because they're getting this attention that they were not used to. So why choose one if you could have a dozen? So some of them have
Do
that
they have
mindset.
standards? Yung mga these new AFAMs that come to Manila, because I feel like they're just so oblivious with all the attention they get. Na parang to some point they're dating everyone. Like,
Yeah.
do they have standards in the beginning?
It's a very good question. So based on our observation, when a man's intention is just to sleep around, anyone will do. But if they are looking for their wife, just like the clients that we work with, the list is long. That's why we work very hard to find them. So that's when they become really picky, because they're talking about, that's gonna be the mother of my children.
So are you saying men will sleep with anyone? Like, they don't have standards, kahit gaano, like, they don't care how they look, like anyone? And
I feel like if I answer that question, Kylie, I will be bashed to death by the men. But my love, don't shoot the messenger. Let me just share with you what I've what we've
anyone,
studied.
no?
So I wouldn't say all men, but men who are in the phase of playing, they don't need an emotional attachment to sleep with you. So you
Okay.
could be a stranger and you just locked eyes and sleep with them, and it won't, affect them that much. Unlike women. So women, the way that we are built, we need to connect emotionally first
Yeah.
before we open up physically.
Yeah.
Again, these are for relationship-oriented women, because women can go through whole phase as well. I'm not talking about those women. But we put different valuation in terms when it comes to sex. It's just that for men, like, they can do it with their eyes closed no matter how they look like. But for females, we feel like, oh, I need that emotional connection in order to like make it.
You know, I read somewhere and I feel like I believe it. Like, men don't care. They can date their level and lower.
Yes.
But women date up.
Yes, and you call that hypergamy.
Hypergamy. What is hypergamy?
Hypergamy is the tendency of women to date within their level or up. It's very seldom for a woman to date down. But for men, since resources is not very important to them, money is not very important to men when they're looking for a partner, they are okay to dating somebody who could be just, 8 to 5 or a cashier or a waitress. That's why this is the beauty of talking about love dating in a scientific way, because you get to see the difference. Men, they value playfulness, they value loyalty, agreeableness, they value femininity. It's very seldom that you see, success.
Okay.
But when it comes to
Okay.
women, the success of a man is number one on our on our
That's true.
list.
That's true.
We need somebody really stable, and we're not only talking about financially. We need like somebody who's strong-minded, mentally stable, financially stable, and all that. And the looks, they could just be a second priority. But
Okay.
for men, sometimes it's number one priority because they are built that way. Biologically, they have more visual neurons, you know? So it's 60% more visual neurons than women.
60%?
Yes. At least, yes, 25 to 60%. So they get a lot of information by just visual.
Okay.
That's why if a woman has a Coca-Cola body, you know,
That's
like
like a-
the way that their brain processes, like, oh, she has a healthy reproductive system. She could have a lot of kids with me. Especially when the woman is also young, they have this tendency to think that, oh, she's very playful, she's easy to be with. And sometimes these happen subconsciously. That's why
Okay.
sometimes when they're just walking, they could just do this 1 second and like, sexy.
Yeah.
Maganda. Ay, hindi
Exactly.
sexy. Not
Exactly. But
It's very quick
we
per
have the
second.
ability to do that too.
We also do that. But do we put a lot of importance in the visuals as much as the man's capability? No. I feel like even if that person is a supermodel, if they're not, you know, doing well as much as we are or higher, maybe you're gonna sleep with them, but you're not gonna marry them.
That's true. Okay, so just to make it clear, so again, can you repeat, how do men actually fall in love?
So men fall in love through visual at the beginning. So attraction and then communication. So you need to attract them so that they will open up to you and communicate with you.
Okay, so it's
Okay.
visual first.
Visual first, very
Okay.
important. That's
Okay.
based on science. So we can't call the men, oh, you guys are so shallow. Like
Yeah.
that's just how they're built.
And it's biological.
It's biological. So it's also like understanding that for women, do not fight that. Use it to your advantage. Now that you know that men are very visual, like take care of yourself.
and there's nothing wrong with that.
I feel like it's also in our advantage to take care of ourselves. I mean, why shouldn't we take care of ourselves?
That's
right?
true.
Yeah, so but I understand the pressure behind looking good and all that stuff. But when it comes, we're talking about dating here. Relationship, it changes because sometimes even if you get big, if the man really loves you, then you have a lot of compensating factor. But dating, you need to catch their eye so that they will be motivated to pursue you initially.
Okay.
It sounds so.
I
but
know.
Yes.
Okay, but what about women? How do we fall in love?
So women, so here's the summary for it. So men fall in love through their eyes and women fall in love through their ears. We
Oh.
fall in love by what we hear, the promises,
You know, that's so
the
true.
future plans, the lies.
The lies.
That's why women test men a lot. Like, if you promise the woman the moon, they're gonna give you time to give them the moon. If you don't give them the moon at a certain period, now they start distrusting you.
Okay.
Now they will lose respect to you. That's because the way to build trust is to match the words and the actions. If you have a lot of words and promises, but your action is like here, it's hard for a woman to trust you and love you.
Okay.
So if you do
interesting.
this, then it's easy to make a woman fall in love.
So let's talk about love languages.
Okay.
What are the main love languages of men and women?
All right. So this is love languages. This was made famous by Gary Chapman.
Is this true?
So yes, I do
Is it
believe
true?
it is
You
true.
believe in it?
I feel like we do cover all five, but we
Okay.
do have primary love languages.
And it's different for each person.
And it's different for each person, but there are generalizations. Like when I talk to my male clients, they would always tell me, oh, I want to be with somebody who is affectionate. And that is often expressed through physical touch.
okay.
That's why. So for women naman, we value number one, service. We
Okay.
want our man to be doing things for us, planning things for us. So action-oriented stuff. So I feel like that's the top one for men, and that's a top one for women. And then the rest could differentiate depending on the
What
personality.
about words of affirmation? Because I feel like I'm personally words of affirmation. Like I
Same.
love I love to hear that they love me. I feel like it
Correct.
comes from, I don't know, my background also, or being in showbiz, or being
Yes,
in whatever.
yes.
Like I need to hear. I need to
Right.
get validated. So is
Yes.
that normal?
It's very
for-
common for women.
Okay.
Right? I would say that is number 2. I put service number 1 because even if they tell you, Kylie, I really love you, I will devote my life to you, but they don't do anything and they don't even show up for you, I feel like you're gonna say, I'd rather have the actions than the
That's
words.
true. That's true. Okay, interesting. You're in a relationship, let's say for a few years. How do
Okay.
you keep the attraction alive even after years together? Okay, this may not be dating, but this is like a personal
this
question.
is part. Yes, this is part of relationship talk because of course before you even get married, you need to be in a relationship. Before you become in a relationship, you need to learn how to date or at least learn how to filter. You know, so there is this psychologist that I love, Dr. Raj Persod. He said that relationships go through 3 stages.
Okay, what are these three
And this
stages?
applies to dating, relationships, friendship, marriages. So the first one is this is the attraction part. This is where you attract the person. The second stage is this is where you pick their interest. So first is like parang 1 foot at the door, and then when they're already inside the door, you have to lock them in by how interesting you are.
That's true.
And then the third phase is basically maintenance, maintaining that relationship. So some relationship fail because they're so good at being attractive, but they lack,
Pero hindi naman matalino.
yes, they're not interesting.
Okay.
Wala yung interested. They couldn't keep
okay.
a person's interest.
Okay.
So, wala na, di ba? While some naman, they're not so good at attracting, but once you get to know them and be in a relationship with them, you'll be like, oh my God, you are a gem.
You're so special.
You're so special. So that's basically the stages of relationship. And so if you ask me how do you maintain it? Well, first is even if you are in a long-term relationship already, you need to some sort of maintain why they liked you in the first place. So if you're a person who loves to take care of yourself, loves to take care of your families, those traits need still to be there, no? Second is you need to also evolve as a human being,
Okay.
or else like we cannot
that's
talk
so
about
true.
the same topic that we
That's
talked
so
on our
true.
first year. There needs to be something new somewhere because novelty gives a lot of dopamine hits. And especially in this generation,
That
you
is
know,
so
we're
true.
craving for a lot of dopamine.
It's so true, especially with like social media. Like it's cheap dopamine.
It's cheap dopamine.
Everything that our phones, these dating apps, these TikToks, whatever, Instagram, that I'm kind of guilty of doing is like all
Same.
cheap dopamine.
cheap dopamine.
And what does that do to us now, like younger generations as a culture?
So I saw this reel and I got scared when I read this. The reel said something like, "Oh, don't go for a woman who loves
Cheap dopamine.
cheap dopamine and adrenaline because they're gonna leave you once they stop feeling something, once they stop feeling alive." And sometimes we are guilty of that.
No,
I
that's so
myself
true.
is guilty
Right,
of
it's
that.
so hard.
Like, Kylie, my profession is a profession that's full of dopamine hits, kilig, romance and
Okay,
stuff.
okay.
So so for matchmakers, it's hard because the threshold gets higher and higher that sometimes it's not easy to satisfy and fulfill. I was telling you about this matchmaker
Yes,
who
tell me.
decided, despite her being the
Being a
top matchmaker
matchmaker.
in New York, having access to successful men, being courted by successful men, she decided to make a baby on her own
Through the sperm
through
bank.
the sperm bank. And of course, now she's living happily with now a 3-year-old daughter. But I was like, why did you do that? And I was
Exactly.
like,
Why do you think she do that? Is it because wala na talaga siyang mahanap?
hindi sa wala siyang mahanap. Masyado ng unang-una as a matchmaker, you learn the ins and out of a person. So, like, personally, they would always ask me, like, Coach Vee, hindi ka ba in love sa client mo?
Yeah, that's
So-
true. Like, how do you set boundaries? And I'm sure you're beautiful, you're maganda,
Oh, thank
sexy.
you.
And these AFAMs are, how? They're like, Coach V, ikaw na lang kaya.
Ikaw na lang kaya. So, number one is, of course, we have our policy.
Okay.
We cannot date our clients, and I've
Okay.
never dated a client ever
Okay.
since. Second is, once I get to know them and I started coaching them, the way that I look at them is they are becoming like a baby brother to me.
Oh, okay.
So you lose that.
So in short, you make them
attraction.
friend zone.
Yeah, so it becomes like, let me guide you,
Okay,
not
okay.
like let me be your lover. So that's just one of the reasons why sometimes, like, therapists, matchmakers, it's hard to just fall in love with clients, even if there's a catch. For a woman to fall in love, you need to admire a man.
That's true.
There needs to be some sort of admiration. But when the admiration is not there, because you know the ins and outs
That's
of
true, that's
everything,
true.
it's hard. It's hard to fall in love. So you just find them their match.
Okay, so what about Filipina girls? How do you find these Filipina girls to match with these AFAMs?
Yes, good question, because right now I literally have 150 messages from Filipina girls telling me, Coach, find me my AFAM. I was like,
how
baby
do
girls?
Because I have a few friends and they said they want to subscribe, or like how?
Yeah. So I wish I'm a subscription option wherein I could serve all of you, but I'm just only one, and I'm running a very intimate, like, boutique matchmaking company. That means I don't put you in a dating app format wherein people just swipe right and swipe left.
Okay.
We take 3 to 6 months to get to know our client, so we could understand what they're looking for. It's a very high touch service.
Okay.
Like, we only
It's very
accept,
personal.
Yes, it's very personal. We only accept a number of clients a month because it's basically me and my team, no, who's working. So my suggestion, the way that we're finding our clients, we've been in the industry for 12 years. We have literally, I don't know, like 12, like thousands of women in our database. But I myself, Kylie, I throw myself out a lot on events because I feel like I know it when I see it.
Okay.
So I look at the
okay.
femininity. I love a Filipina girl who's pretty and classy.
Okay.
Not
okay.
the braggy entitled woman, but
Okay.
like she's beautiful and she's educated, but she's also, her weakness is love. Like, she wants to have a family.
Okay,
Like, those are the
okay.
traits that I'm looking
Ooh,
for.
okay.
But most importantly, I really appreciate a woman who is into self growth and self development.
Okay.
So a woman who is in self development, you'll see, because she works out. All of my clients that I work with, I would always recommend them work out. And you, Kylie, I've heard you're working out at least
Yes.
times a day. You know, like, I
Yes,
feel
I do
like
work
that
out.
is an investment that you do for yourself. And then trainings and developments, I feel like even if men say like, we can marry them even if they're not intelligent, that's not true, because the clients who are coming here, they would tell me, I want somebody who can meet me and have a decent conversation. So you
Okay.
need to have a little bit of this too. It's not just this.
That's so true.
And especially with foreign men, if they are successful and they have everything, they also want like a woman who's not just pretty, but also somebody that they could go on formal dinners
And bring them along.
and bring them along and have a decent conversation and not just smile, you know?
True.
So, and I feel it's a fair ask to have that, both beauty and in the Philippines, you have a lot of beauty and brains. We don't have any shortage of that.
No, that's so true.
So many of that.
How do you make someone genuinely obsessed with you?
How to make somebody? Do you want the healthy version or the toxic version?
I want
because
both.
we can teach both.
Okay, let's go healthy.
Okay, so healthy version is, how do you make somebody obsessed with you? I would say, when you say obsessed, do you want them to marry you or do you want them to just chase you and not marry
Let's
you?
go marry.
Marry, yes, because that's the goal, right? So for women, I want you to remember these 5 traits, because
Okay.
based on research, these are what men are looking for, backed by data.
Okay.
Okay. Number one is agreeableness. Okay. So I know that you have standards. I know that you don't like the restaurant that he picked. But if they suggested something, maybe you're not gonna die if you just go for it and try what they like, no? Because for most parts, they will follow what you want. But once in a while, if they say, "Han, do you mind if we try this restaurant just for tonight?" I mean, baby girl, if it's something that's gonna make your man happy, just say yes. It's just a restaurant. Agreeable, because high value man don't want to fight all the time because they've been fighting already out of your house.
Okay.
Building a career, building an empire. So agreeableness. Second will be loyalty. For women, when we get pregnant, we know it's ours. If you're a man and your girlfriend or your wife gets pregnant, of course she can say that's yours. But until you see your face in that baby, we're not really sure.
What if makamukha-mukha natin yung baby?
Kaya nga. I mean, this is just it's a joking way to say it, but this is why men value loyalty.
Okay.
Because they can't be raising another man's child.
Okay.
So, next is youth. And of course, the age thing is an obvious thing, but youth can't be just age. It could be the vibe. Because you could be 20-year-old
Okay.
and feel and sound like a 50-year-old, which I used to be when on my 20s.
Okay.
I feel
okay.
like I'm just 20-year-old, but I'm carrying the weight of the world.
Okay.
That's why hindi ako naliligawan on my 20s. I feel like I had more manliligaws on when I got older on my 30s than 20s.
So would it be fair to say like age doesn't matter, but it's your energy that matters?
Energy is very, very important.
Okay.
And when we talk about, and I'm gonna go to the fourth one, which is kind of connected. But youthfulness, it's how you show up to the world. Will you show up as a person who is curious, or would you show up as a person who, I don't like that because my ex already did that?
Okay.
A lot of baggages. Okay,
So light, like lightness.
Light and curious, and I would say a big example of a woman who is like youthful is a woman who just smiles, happy. If they feel like if it's funny, they're gonna laugh. They're not gonna be like super duper self-conscious, like I'm not gonna laugh because I don't want them to think like, just like a kid.
Okay.
Easy to please.
Okay. Actually, that's what my partner says about me. I'm like a kid.
Oh, and they love that.
Really?
They
Oh my
love
God.
that.
I don't want to work anymore.
Yeah. Princess treatment, please. Anyway, the fourth one, the most important one, playfulness. If you see the cards of our clients, it says there what they're looking for. There are two words that's always present: femininity and playfulness. It's
That's
that
so
ability
interesting.
to, interact, like banter with them, laugh with them, not take everything so seriously. Because men would like to decompress with a woman that they love. They don't want to, they don't want you to be a battle that they need to conquer. That's why I'm an advocate of, even if you're really mad, don't curse at your partner.
Okay.
I'm an advocate of, even if you're really mad, don't yell at them. Just remove yourself from the situation. Go and have a spa. Go to your girlfriends. Go to your family. But never yell at them.
Okay.
Because I can see how men are affected when a woman starts to yell at them or curse at them. They lose also the respect
for the women
and the love that they have to women. So.
Interesting. Let's say I'm in an argument. I'm
Okay.
very not confrontational.
Okay.
I would rather.
What do you do?
I'm like quiet. I disassociate. Not disassociate,
it?
but like I'm gonna go. I wanna be alone. I wanna go in my
There you
corner. I
go.
wanna process things. But I'm never like, kasi naman ito yung ginawa mo.
Right.
And that's
Yes, and I'm
That's
also
okay.
like that, and that's okay. I feel like, although if you want to learn the toxic part of it, is sometimes the silent treatment, we thought it's a healthy way, but if we put it on an extreme manner, it's not also healthy. But I would say it's still better than you throwing things or yelling at your partner. In Filipinas, ang hilig natin sa tampo, the silent treatment.
Oo nga, mahilig tayo sa tampo.
Like if they ask you, what's wrong? They're like, nothing. But then you don't look at
Nothing.
them
Oh my God,
the
I'm
whole
guilty.
day.
No, I'm okay.
So, Yeah, I'm okay.
You're fine.
It's okay.
I'm fine.
But the tone of voice, my gosh, that's like one thing that I would tell the foreigners, the AFAM. Like, if you want to know what's really going on, listen to your Filipina
voice.
girls' tone of voice. Because even if they say nothing, but then like nothing, that means it's not nothing, it's everything that you're doing is not right. So that's why they're saying nothing. So
Okay, so we keep on talking about high value men. Can you describe what a high value man actually is?
okay. So I'm gonna base my description on the clients that we're working with.
Okay.
Okay. First is, and can't deny it, these are men who have done well in their career.
Okay, so successful.
Very, very successful. The youngest client that we had that exited a company, sold already like 3 companies.
Okay.
He's 32 years old. Diba? Very young.
Very
But these
young.
are the tech people. That's
Okay,
why.
okay.
Right? And then we're also serving as old as like 68 years old. Of course, very accomplished already. So you can't deny that career and financial success is a big thing. Okay, that's what also draws a lot of women, because women love stability. We want a man who can, help not only our current family, but like, what if we have children? Like, which among the men will help my daughter or my son live the longest?
Okay.
Do I go for the man with a short resource, or with a lot of resource? Of course, your kid will be in a better position with a lot of resource. Not to say that you cannot find a good woman if you're not yet successful, because sometimes a lot of women bet on also capacity, capability. So as long as you're promising, as long as you're working hard, then you could get a shot. But again, with our clients, very successful. Second is, all of my clients works out every day.
Work out every
Work-
day?
yes.
Like every day.
Every day. And
Every day? Like,
yes.
Okay.
So you will think, oh, they're very successful. How are they working out? Like, I had this client last week, works out 3 times a week. I was like, how do you find time? 3 times a day. I was like, how do you find time to work out 3 times a day? And then I had this Filipino politicians who told me that he works out 5 times a day. I was like, how are you guys doing?
How do you work out
making
5
time
times
for
a
this?
day?
But here's the thing: once they've already established the success part, like, they have time for themselves. They have time for self growth and self development.
Okay.
And these are the people who are the easiest to match, because they take care of themselves and they have something to offer the women. And then high value man is also a person, a man who is picky. So
Okay,
you
interesting.
so you cannot call a man who's sleeping around and picking up girls a high value man, because if that person
that.
if that person is high value, they're thinking about their legacy. They're thinking
I
about
love
their
that.
genetics, that it doesn't spread
I love that.
and have children with women that are not similar high value as them. So I would say those are the top 3 among many others.
Why do these high value men have a hard time finding a partner? And why do they even need matchmaking if they're so high value?
Right. So this is the number 1 misconception, that people hire matchmakers because they're having a hard time finding love.
Oh.
It's actually the exact opposite. They're hiring matchmakers because they have too many options that their brains get fried even going through the options. And not just that, it's about quality control. So
Is it
imagine,
because they have so many options?
they have to get it, they want to get it right, because if they were able to figure out their career, they were able to figure out their fitness, they're able to figure out the other aspects of themselves. If they are humble enough to acknowledge that, you know what, I have the skills to build a company, but I may not have the skills to filter a good relationship, then I would hire like an expert. Imagine just like hiring a headhunter. Like, you could just hire any secretary that you know, but why would you hire people that you know if you could tell your headhunter, can you find me a secretary with these credentials?
Yeah.
Because I want to get it right. I want to have a very good secretary. So it's just like working with a matchmaker. I always receive a long list of who they feel like they're going to end up with. And sometimes men and women, we have preferences, right?
Yeah.
So they feel like, well, I don't have a hard, and I hear this often from them. I don't have a hard time getting attention, but these are the qualities of the woman that I'm looking for. And I don't want to be on dating apps. Half of our clients are like Googleable. So imagine you, Kylie, being on a dating app. Like, it's
I know,
crazy, right?
I think I would.
So they need some sort of like somebody to filter it for them, so they could put in their hours at work. They could put in their hours in the gym and just ask somebody to filter the women for them.
Interesting. So they treat it like a like hiring.
It's like being it's all about being systematic.
Okay.
It's about
interesting.
processes and systems, right? And imagine if this man is successful, they are successful because they are organized.
Yes.
And the reason why they're hiring a
Do
matchmaker
they
is
have
because they
all
want to
the same
organize it.
qualities? These like high value men. Do they have the same qualities? Organized, systematic.
Let me think. One thing that I'm gonna say is one common ground that I've noticed is they do work out almost every day. That's one. Second is many of them have figured out how to make money early on in their life. I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe they're tech. Maybe they're.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. I mean, I thought, you get rich as you get older, but then you meet like a 35, 38-year-old man who's already done well in life, who's just living off the interest of their investments.
That's so true.
Right. And I don't expect everybody to understand it, because even at the beginning, I was shocked by the level of people that exist that I met through the service. Like, if I didn't become a matchmaker, I will not even have a like abundance mindset wherein I'm not gonna think that it's possible to even be successful at an early age. But I see this people. I talk to them. I mean, it's possible.
Okay.
That's why I love people. I love giving people hope. Because whatever they're looking for, like, it's out there. It's kind of hard to find them, but they're out there. They exist. Your unicorn exists.
See? The unicorn exists.
The unicorn. But don't just be the Lulu. If you want a unicorn, might as well make yourself a unicorn as well. Because if you are not a unicorn, the unicorn will not even look at you.
That's so true. So how do you become the unicorn? How do you become the best version of yourself?
Yeah, so it's not about being the most beautiful, the richest. It's about being your best version.
Okay.
I always ask my clients, hindi ka ba nagtataka, what if may ikakaganda ka pa? Sa mga male clients, hindi ka ba nagtataka na meron ka pang ikakayaman, ikakasuccessful? Only if you are open to transformation or self-development. So I would say, go and do self-development, because who would have thought, di ba? May ikaka-great ka pa pala. You wouldn't want to die that you're not at your best version. What if God wanted you to be version number 5, but at version number 2 you already gave up?
That's so true. When we're 20s, feeling kasi natin, ganda,
Yun
peak
na-
na natin.
yun na yun.
Pero feeling ko, at our 30s, may igaganda pa tayo.
And you know why, Kylie? Because personally, I've experienced that during our 20s. My priorities was my family. So most of my salary would go to the family. So ano na lang ba matitira for pang pa-beauty, pang invest? Wala na masyado, because 20s,
Okay.
'di ba? You're just taking off from your career. So on my 30s, I feel like dun lang ako naka-experience na I am able
Ikaw
to
naman
afford.
okay.
Yes, really invest in myself more than on my 20s.
Okay. Ako naman, my 20s were about having fun, exploring, and then career. And then on my 30s, I feel like that's when all your decisions come, and then, well, I feel like you're more stable in your 30s, no?
Absolutely. So the brain, sabi nila, na kukompleto at age 25.
Okay.
'Di ba? So if you are younger, that's why it's normal to do silly mistakes in your younger years.
And it's okay.
And it's okay,
Okay.
because that is supposed to be your exploration era.
Okay.
But then once you hit later on, because we have what we call Peter Pans as well, wherein these are like
Late bloomers?
Peter Pans are guys who are older already, but they live and they act as if they're still in their, playtime era. Like they've never left the 20s in their mind.
Okay.
So even if they're not sa 40s, 50s, supposedly family and settling down, they're still like at the bar every
true.
night. So yeah.
Do you think all men have vices?
I don't think so.
No?
Yeah, I've met a lot of men who are high in discipline, but also
Okay.
maybe because I'm very exposed to the security wherein like people are, they don't do drugs, they haven't touched a marijuana in their life, they haven't touched, yeah. I myself haven't touched any of this. So
Okay.
there are people out there who don't have any vice. Maybe ako personally, I feel like my vice is love.
I
And
love
some
that.
women,
I love
some
that.
men, and women, their vice is like
Love.
love. And we'll keep it that way.
Okay, this one for the single people.
Okay.
Let's say you're single and gusto mong magpapansin sa guy.
Okay.
What do you do? And what do you do without looking too desperate?
Yes. So I am a modern matchmaker and dating coach, but I would always recommend women not to make the first move.
Okay, so
Yes.
you don't think women should make the first move?
I don't think they should make the first move, but they should send positive signals.
Okay, what is the sending positive signals?
Positive signals is looking at them, smiling,
Oh,
open
okay.
body language, letting them know that it's safe to approach.
Okay, okay.
If they're nearby or if you're already chatting with them, giving them a light touch on the arm, saying like, you're so funny. Just like encourage them to pursue you, but never pursue a man.
Okay, okay. Interesting. So give them signals.
Give them positive signals that
Okay.
it's okay. Because by the end of the day, humans do not like to be rejected. Even
That's
if they're
true.
so guapo, even if they're so maganda, we all have fears of rejection. Don't you have fear of rejection, Kylie?
No, all the time.
You see? So sometimes people approach not the most beautiful, but the most available.
That is true. I was asking this yesterday, but I was asking my partner like, let's say when you're in a bar, and it's the men approach not the most beautiful person,
Mhm.
but like the second or the third most beautiful,
You know
and the
why?
most beautiful one doesn't get any attention.
Yes. And these are actually backed by research. There's this research that came out that some of the most beautiful women are lonely
That's true.
because some men tend to self-reject, thinking that, oh, if I go for the woman above my league, I'm not going to stand a chance. So I'm going to go for somebody who is within my league or lower than my league because it increases the chance of acceptance.
Are men intimidated by successful women?
They're not intimidated by the success, but they are intimidated by the masculine traits.
Okay. Okay. So, and what are these masculine
Yes.
traits we need to avoid?
So it's not the money that men are intimidated about. They just don't like the competitive streak
Okay.
of women who've done a lot of success. Because we need to carry, us women, and the women that I work with in my femininity course, I work with successful women who also wants to be relationship focused already. So these are the women who have like hustled on their 20s, now they're doctors and
Yeah.
lawyers, but then they've missed the happiest part of life, which is
Yeah.
falling in love. And so I teach them you should not, when you go on a date, you should not lead with, oh, I'm a doctor, I have a PhD. Like, men do not care about that as much as you think. We care about that about them because we want to have an idea of their capability to produce future resource. But for us, what is important to men is what are the things that I've mentioned? Playfulness, agreeableness, loyalty, and all those things. So if you're dating and you're a very successful woman, like, yes, keep those masculine traits 8 to 5. But the moment that you're done with work, leave the competitive, aggressive trait outside of your door before you even go and meet your partner and your date.
I really like this.
We need the
baby girl.
The baby girl. So the schedule, my love, is 8 to 5, lady boss. 5 onwards, baby girl.
Okay, may schedule pala tayo, guys. So 8 to 5, well,
8 to
8 to
5,
5,
lady boss.
lady boss.
Yes.
And then 5 p.m. onwards,
Baby girl. Yes. And that's what you call compartmentalization. It's like when it's time to hustle, I have my masculine traits. I'm aggressive, I'm competitive, I'm all that stuff because we need to make money. And sometimes it takes money to be feminine.
Yes.
You need all your beauty, you have to pay for all of those, right? But when it comes to your relationship, you need to rest, leave the control a little bit, bawas-bawasan yung pagiging control freak, and just learn how to trust your man. Because if you are not able to trust your man, why are you with that man?
That's true. I had this, let's say, going into a relationship. I was, of course, coming from my single era. I
Okay.
feel like I was very masculine and I was hustling. And of course, I wanted to make money and
Yes.
prove myself and prove all these things to myself that I can do it. And then coming into a relationship, of course, I kind of softened because he was such like a masculine
There you go.
man, and like I've never experienced that before, so I started to like be soft and
There you
feminine,
go.
and then he started taking care of me, and then I was like, oh, okay, I kind of like this position. But then okay, then I have to go back to work, and sometimes I would bring that masculine energy back to the relationship, and it wouldn't work.
It would not work because there needs to be a polarity. That means there needs to be
So
a
leave it in the
masculine
office.
energy,
The
and
masculine
there's
energy,
a
leave it in
feminine
the
energy.
office.
Yeah, I would say bring it up when it's needed, but you don't have to be. You don't have to carry a lot of masculine traits when your man has those masculine traits already. So learn to trust them and learn how to just respect yourself as a woman. Like, yeah, I'm a hustle girl, but I don't have to hustle 24 hours. I need to be a baby as well.
How come when I feel like when I'm with my partner, parang bumabobo ako?
Yeah.
Like I feel like I'm so smart, but when I'm with him, I'm like relaxed. I don't want to do anything, and I'm like I can't talk so much.
Because he probably carries a lot of the masculine traits, the leadership, the decisions, of course the provision. That's why you feel like you can turn off your brain. And for me, that is the most attractive thing a man could offer to a woman, is when a woman can turn off their brain when they're with their man.
Okay.
So congratulations, baby girl.
I know. I feel like my brain's been like totally off for the past year.
Okay,
No,
you are officially in your baby girl
I'm
era.
officially in my baby girl era, but now I
Yay.
want to hustle again, so it's back there.
It's somewhere there when needed.
It's somewhere there, but
Yes.
I guess we have to be both.
We have to be
the
Absolutely. So I don't believe in just being pabebe and letting go of your pink slip. Remember pink slip
Yes.
from Why Men Love Bitches?
I know.
You need to have your own income, baby girls, because even if a man really, really loves you today, one day they get hit by a truck and they hit their head and they change their mind, they don't love you anymore. You don't have to beg to be in that wrong relationship just because you don't have money to survive. You could walk away from bad relationships anytime because you have your own money. So you're staying for love,
That's true.
not for money.
That's true. What if a guy comes to you and he's like, "Come here, you don't have to work. I'll take care of you."
Okay, please, this is my monthly allowance. So you still have monthly income.
So is allowance normal?
And this is my personal opinion, I would not say yes to being a stay-home mom and taking care of
Without-
everything without an income. Why? Because if you take off from work, when you go back to working again, you have that in your CV, curriculum vitae, you will have those years of not working. And I'm also a realist. Look how difficult it is for mothers to go back in the job market.
That's true.
It's hard. So if you are a lucky woman who have a supportive partner that says, you know what, I want you to be in your femininity. I want you to be
Yes.
always happy and feminine when I come home. I want the house to smell beautiful and look
Yes.
beautiful. You say, I would love that too. This is my monthly allowance. Right? Can you afford it, my love? If
Okay.
not, maybe I'm gonna work. We share the house. We share the house responsibilities. I mean, taking care of the kids and everything. But I feel like just men need to take care of their woman.
And they would
that's
do
it.
it
If they love the woman, they will. If the man is masculine, real masculine enough, they will. Because, and this is an observation amongst men that I've met who have high masculine traits, high value, is they take pride in taking care of you. Because they don't want anyone in their space to suffer.
That's true.
Because they don't want to suffer.
That's true.
So find a man who's like that. Like, celebrate a man who takes pride in taking care of the people that they love. That's why look at how they treat their mom. Is the mom, like until now, the mom is 70 but still the breadwinner? Or
Okay.
are they the type of like, oh, I send my mom to this, I
Yes.
give this to my mom? Because men, do not evade challenge. With challenge, you build character. Sometimes too much of a challenge for woman, it builds a lot of like
Stress.
bitterness and stress. And based on research, when a woman is very stressful, the cortisol is high, men avoids them. That's why the commercial, di ba, when the woman is like losyang, hindi nagkaka-love life. Because there's a science behind it. When you're always looking stressful, hindi ka talaga makaka-love life. Hindi ka
So you
magkaka-love
just
life.
always have to be in your
You have
feminine energy.
Yes. You have to be able to make yourself feel safe with or without a man, so that when a man meets you, they are gonna look at you as, oh, this is a peaceful woman, not a chaotic woman.
Okay. Okay, this one.
Okay.
Do you think it's healthy for couples to check each other's phone?
To check each other's phone, I would just do that if you had a gut instinct, because the instinct is connected to our brain. So if you feel something, and there's so many scenarios with people that I was working with that once they usually don't check,
And then
but
they
that
had a
one
gut.
moment that they had that gut instinct, I mean, go ahead and check the phone. But do not be an annoying lady who checks their
Every-
man's phone every day. Like, don't you have a life, baby girl?
That's so true.
Don't you have a spa appointment to go to?
That's true. Oh, honestly, I check.
You do? Every day?
Not every day.
Oh, okay. Once a week?
No. When I
Once
feel
in a
like
while.
it.
Yeah, when you feel
So like once a week. No, I'm
So,
just going
is it with permission or without permission?
without permission.
Okay, now you know. Here in Kylie's podcast, you know that your phone is being checked.
No, I'm just
But you
kidding.
have
I
the
think
permission.
honestly, I can count with a number of times.
That you did.
But he told me there you won't get anything. Wala kang mapapala dyan in English. Let's say
Yes.
if he goes through my phone too, he's gonna see old pictures probably of my ex that I didn't delete. And
Oh, so nagtatago ka pa na.
I mean, like, because I have like 30,000 photos.
Yeah.
Or I don't know
feel
how
you.
many, and I don't delete,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So sometimes he gets my phone, or because he needs to do something, and there's like pops of a picture of
Yes,
an
the
ex.
ex. Yes.
It's not there.
Right.
It's like it's my fault also, but
Is he very, very secure, or does it
He's
does
super
it bother
secure.
him? Okay.
super
really
secure. So it doesn't.
So you have each other's permission to check.
I mean, honestly, I don't
Others.
think he checks mine.
But you know what? Women, although this annoys men, women needs to test men. Why? Because, my love, we are offering our womb, we're offering our
Yeah.
lifetime. So we want to make sure that that man that we're gonna sleep with and have build a family with is a trustworthy man.
That's true.
So do check your man's phone
That's
once in a while just to verify. Sabi nga, I used to work for this because I used
We're
to
not
be
being toxic, guys. I
Yes.
mean, like, honestly, I can count the number of times I've
Yeah.
checked. Maybe like
So we
4.
don't, this is not about being toxic. This is basically also protecting yourself, because, my love, we are in a generation wherein the man could be with you 24 hours and still could cheat.
Yeah, that's true.
But also same, like a woman could be with you at the same time but have 4 boyfriends. So earn that trust, you know. So my favorite saying is, trust your partner. Trust but verify.
Trust but verify. Elle is clapping. Elle is in this clap. Trust but verify, guys. You never know.
Okay.
Does body count matter?
Body count. I've read some research about body counts wherein if you sleep with too many partners too soon, you do, again, I'm not a doctor, but there's, just imagine
This
that
is for women,
exchange.
yeah.
That, like, it just makes me, because once you give yourself into, like, I remember reading about this, that of course when you sleep with them, there is some cells that stays in your body forever. So just imagine if you have like 100 person
Oh my
with different
God.
DNAs in your
Yeah.
body. So that's one. That's not something that, I mean, I would recommend women to be very picky about the men that
I
they
love
sleep
that.
with. Why?
I totally believe in that.
Because
And
the
they should.
risk is higher for a woman than a man. A man, they could sleep with 100 people. Of course, the risk of having sexual health problems, but they're not gonna get pregnant. But baby girl, if you become stupid and you sleep around, you will have the risk of getting pregnant and carrying another man's, DNA, like a man that you don't know if they have a mental health problem and all that
I feel
stuff.
like that's so unfair for women.
It is so unfair,
Right?
but that is what's
Biology.
happened. That is biology, and that's the reality. There are so many reasons that it's unfair, but the easiest way to look at it is men will not get pregnant, women can.
I hope in the future, like, they experience the whole pregnancy thing.
Yeah. So,
Um,
it does matter, Kylie.
to men?
To women, because I've also
Okay.
learned that, and this is something that, women may or may not agree, but the more relationships we have, the more we also carry like baggages from our previous relationships,
Okay.
especially if we love them.
Okay.
There will be like triggers wherein sometimes you're already in a new relationship, and then you see like a Coca-Cola, and then you remember, oh, that was my
You used to
ex number
love the-
15's favorite.
Wow,
There's
ex
so
number
many, like, because we're
15.
so emotional. Like every time that we get into a relationship, I feel like we give a piece of us to that partner.
That's so true.
But for men, again, they could sleep with 1,000 people, and that's and
I find that
and
so
they feel like
unfair still.
that was nothing. I don't even remember their face.
What I don't like about love is the heartbreak.
The what?
The heartbreak that comes
that's the
after.
worst. Absolutely.
It's the sometimes you go crazy or you feel jealous. And speaking of jealousy, how do you handle jealousy in a relationship?
So jealousy, like one of the ways that I feel like this is a nugget, like I was able to learn to differentiate jealousy and envious. So jealousy is when okay, let's start with envious. Envy is like you want something that's not yours. Oh, I want her bag, I want her boyfriend, I want her house, I want her shoes. Jealousy is you don't want anything that's already yours to be taken away from you.
Oh.
That's why you get
okay.
jealous when a girl goes to your boyfriend, because that is my boyfriend.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't want that to be taken away from me. And so jealousy is normal in a healthy dose. But jealousy needs to be communicated. And once you communicate that, the partner should not trigger you any longer. Because everybody has like some sort of insecurity, right?
That's true. But
I mean, Kylie, like you appear to a lot of men and women as like girl who looks very, very pretty, looks perfect. Do you have any insecurity?
yeah, a lot. Like, I wouldn't say I think I'm pretty jealous in a way.
Okay.
Like, I can be very
You could be.
celosa,
Right.
but I would never say it.
You'll never say
Yeah, I
it.
would never. I would like
So-
eat my pride alive.
Talaga. So my
That's-
love, for example, we're going out and you're
And then
my
I would feel so bad. And then I would like,
talaga.
pipitik ako. May,
Pipiti ka na lang
Yeah,
one day,
pipitik na lang
diba?
ako
Because
one
it's
day.
so it's
and
so,
I can hold it for like months.
oh my God.
I feel like it's my ego.
why don't you tell your partner, why don't you just say
Because
like,
I don't want to give the attention to another girl. I'm
yes.
kind of weird that way.
that's actually, it's very into, like, because if you acknowledge it, it's like giving them the power that,
Yes.
oh, they could compete with me. No, they're
Yes.
nothing, but as a human being, it bothers you.
But I never tell him I'm jealous. But in my head, I'm like, why?
Yes, but my
know?
love, how do you process that so that you don't like pitik one day?
I actually just keep it to myself.
You just, nawawala din ba siya after a while?
Hindi.
So, good luck to you, my friend.
But recently, I've been more upfront. I'd be like, I don't like her.
You don't like her.
Yeah.
Oh, you just
Yeah.
tell them.
Yeah, I don't like her.
Yeah. In the
Because she was touchy.
yeah, and if if a man loves you and respect you, they don't mind losing 100 girls to the love of their life.
Okay. So how do you deal with jealousy? Should I just
Okay.
be like, hey, I don't like this. I don't like that you did this.
So there's this strategy that I teach the women that I coach, men and women. It's called self-soothing.
Okay, what is this self-soothing?
So self-soothing is your way of telling yourself you're okay, you're safe. Even if you feel like, oh, there's another woman who's triggering me. Self-soothing could be, first is like telling yourself, oh, if he wants another woman, he's not gonna be with me. If he wants another woman, then go. So it's a lot of like mindset and like telling yourself that with or without him, like I'll be okay anyway.
Okay.
So when you have that mindset, then you don't have that need to control, like, oh, I don't want him to be around, because your mindset is like, okay, if he cheats, that's his loss.
Okay.
I'm a baby girl. Somebody
Okay.
else will fall in love with me. Especially with you.
I kind of have that also. Like, okay, sige, fine.
Sige,
Bahala ka
diba?
dyan.
So
I kind of have that.
Mm.
And that's healthy?
that's healthy, because that it's assuring yourself. Because if you start to control everything, you can't, because especially if your partner is guapo or admirable, people will admire them and you cannot control that.
That's true.
There's a lot of people also admiring you. For sure your partner also is feeling that sort of jealousy. But also, since you select a high value man, it comes with the territory. So you need to learn how to process the thing that comes with it. Diba? So if you don't want to feel jealous, then find a man that's not a catch. You will not be jealous because nobody will even want him. But you selected a man who's like high value, then be ready.
That's true. What are your thoughts on signing a prenup?
My gosh, prenup. First, that it's very new, needs to be studied more. But
Should like Filipinas sign a prenup?
so, are you asking for my personal or my professional opinion?
Ooh. Personal.
Personal. If I am a Filipina and I'm gonna be married to a man and he asks me for a prenup, I'm going to be hurt. Because I feel like, and that's the emotional part of me.
I like
saying
this.
that it feels like, are you not?
You don't trust me?
Yeah, you don't trust me. Are you not 100% sure? Are you thinking about an exit? But that's an emotional way to go about it. If you ask for my professional advice, prenup is required now because you want to make sure that they're there for you for love and not just for your money. But also, we have to be very careful because there's a fine line between this, and this is the reason why I don't like it when relationships go 50-50. Because
Okay.
when you do 50-50, it sets the tone as if you look after yourself, I look after myself. But that's not what a relationship and marriage should be. It has to be, we're all in this together. Whatever I
I
have
love that.
is yours, whatever is yours is mine. For me, that's real love. Like there's that ultimate trust. But because of what's happening in the world, people are starting to have more distrust, even in their most intimate relationships. That's why you have all that prenups as well. But you could also like do the prenup in a way that, if somebody cheats, then they get nothing. If if no cheating happens, then we get a shared
Okay, I kind of like
whatever.
that.
Yeah, you can play around about it. But
Okay.
I think it
So
would be
basically, it's like rules of the relationship.
rules of the relationship. It doesn't have to be one-sided. It doesn't have to be against women or men. But I would recommend speaking to a lawyer so that we know the technicalities.
Okay.
But again, personally, it's just that I feel like ang
You'll be
sakit.
hurt.
Ang sakit. Ikaw, how about you? How do you feel about
No,
it?
that's why I'm asking you.
Would you feel hurt if there will be a prenup?
I think so, but it would
Uh-huh.
depend on how he
Yeah.
serves it to me.
Or
if
what
it's
is written in it?
Yeah.
I mean, what if he serves it to you while dancing? Like, would you say like, okay,
Depends
approve?
pala, no. When I'm
But-
totally drunk, he's like,
yeah. Just sign it.
no, I mean
Kylie.
depends. Like, what if there's infidelity involved?
Yeah.
Then,
Right.
So
Correct.
it really depends what's written on it.
Yes. And I hope that if there will be a prenup, I hope it also protects women, because
Yeah.
overseas, when you do a divorce, diba, half of the resources of the male or whoever earns more gets to be split. Dito sa Pilipinas, you annulled, you are on your own.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't have a job for 10, 15 years. I know this because I personally experienced it through my mom. She spent 15 years of her life devoting, taking care of children, didn't have yayas, raised all of my brothers, 4 brothers, by her own. And then the moment that they split, she left that relationship with nothing, not even a house, or yeah, she had to sell like her jewelries to survive in
So
Manila.
that's those are the horror stories na I don't want to happen.
That we don't want to happen, and that's what's going to happen when we don't protect our women here in the Philippines.
Okay.
Some of the men will build their career while in a marriage, while the woman stays in the house, not building anything but memories with the children. But
Okay,
but the
interesting.
moment that when they separate, you need money to feed yourself and your kid. So I hope that with the prenup thing, it's gonna balance it in a way that it also compensates the women for the years that they've sacrificed raising a family.
Okay, interesting. What about cheating? What is your view on it? What if the guy cheats and what if the girl cheats?
If they have a history of cheating, they're gonna do that to you too.
Okay. Coach V, this is the last
Okay.
part of the podcast, but this is also one of my favorite parts of the show. It's called the Dilemma Debate. So this is where we take real life situations this is where we take real life situations that our listeners are facing, and then we talk through them honestly. No
Okay.
perfect answers, just real talk, and then at the end we advise them, or in this case you will advise them because I
Okay.
feel like you're the expert in this.
Okay.
So the first one is called, her name is Michelle, 28, from Makati. And she writes, I'm successful in my career, financially independent, and honestly, I'm proud of what I've built. But I keep hearing that I should tone it down when dating because I'm intimidating men. My friends say I should let him pay, not mention my achievements, maybe even play dumb, but that feels a bit fake to me. Should successful women hide their accomplishments to make men feel more comfortable? Isn't the right man going to be excited about my success and not threatened by it?
So don't hide your success. Just compartmentalize it. Just like how I talked about being a girl boss from 8 to 5 to baby girl after 5. It's basically just learning when to bring up your accomplishments. If you're on a date, you should not lead with your accomplishment. But I feel like your success is part of the attraction that they have with you.
Okay.
So that's not something to be shy about.
Okay.
Like, girl, you spent so much money to be in that good school.
Exactly.
Your parents worked really hard to, put you in that where you are right now. So they are intimidated not because of your success. It's how you show up to the world.
Okay.
If you show up competitive, entitled, in your head instead of being in your body, instead of laughing, being playful, being in the moment,
Yeah.
then that's what's gonna make them run away. So, what's her name again? Michelle?
Michelle.
Yes. So Michelle, the next time that you go on a date, you don't have to hide your accomplishments. But remember, you are on a date. They are dating you not because of what you're earning. They're dating you because they
you
love
are.
your vibe. They love how you smile. They love how you make pabebe. So forget about the accomplishment for a little bit. You could put that in your CV and just live in the moment. So that's going to be my advice.
Don't you think the right partner will celebrate your success
They will
and not
definitely
compete with it?
Absolutely. Although the horror would be, if you lead with your accomplishments, you will attract men who want you for your money and not for your heart.
Ooh, so you would be a
That's why
mama san.
Yeah, you will be a
You're
mama
mama
san.
san.
And who would want to be a mama san?
No one wants to be a mama
And you know what,
san.
my love? I am so surprised because some of the mama-san that I've met are beautiful and young ladies who are financing their boyfriends.
Oh
And
my
I was like,
God.
while these average-looking women are having princess treatment. So it's not about the beauty. It's
So
about,
find the right guys.
yes, it's not
Girls.
about the beauty. It's about the femininity. Just when you go on a date, just if you came from work, do not go in your date in a corporate attire, baby girl. Make baon outfit, or you know.
I really try to put an effort. Like, or maybe it's just innate in me. I just always want to look good.
Yes, Kylie,
Because
you
it's
look,
for myself.
you look like
and
a
not-
baby girl in by nature.
Not when I wake up, Vee. No.
I mean,
I
I
look like
feel
a horror story when I wake up.
I feel like most women are born a baby girl, but because of the hardships in life that they have to go through, they have to
Okay.
make a living, they have to support themselves, support a family. They needed to act like a man and work like a man and conduct themselves as a man to be heard in the boardroom. But once you found somebody that you trust, you can, put the armor down
That's
and
true.
like show
That's
just
true.
show your baby girl. Don't talk. I mean, don't hide your accomplishments, but do not lead with it. That's my only request.
Speaking about leading, what do you think of women leading in a relationship? Do these high value men like these girls leading in a relationship, or should we just take a step back and let them lead the relationship?
So if you want a man who is in touch with their masculine energy, they will only fall in love with their polar opposite. So you should be a woman who is in your feminine energy.
Okay.
But if you are a really masculine woman and you don't want to do something about it, you can still find love. But you will end up with a man who would just follow you and
Okay.
are in touch
Maybe
with
that's
their
what they
feminine.
want.
Maybe that's what they want. That's why I would say go for it. Go for what you want.
So this dilemma is from Maria32 Cebu, and she says, I've been with my boyfriend for 3 years. He's a good guy. We get along well. But he keeps saying he's not ready for marriage or kids. I'm 32 years old. I want a family, and I feel like time is running out. Everyone tells me to give him an ultimatum. But I don't want to force someone into commitment. But at the same time, I don't want to waste more years waiting for someone who might never be ready. How long should you wait for someone to commit? And am I being selfish for wanting a timeline?
I feel like if she could imagine herself 10 years older without a kid, but with his man, and she'll be happy with it, that means okay, stick around. But if she could not fathom the idea of being 10 years older without a family and being, without the love of her life, this is the time not to give ultimatum, but to have that conversation saying, this is my goals, this is my plan. What are your goals and plan? If it doesn't match, it is called incompatibility in matchmaking.
Okay.
So you could be the most in love couple in the world,
But
if you're not if you're not compatible in terms of where you want to go in life, you will still break up in the future. So might as well save a lot of years of regrets now than later.
when you mean compatibility, does that mean family, values, where you want to
Family,
go, marriage?
You're right. Vices, their views in with money, gambling, and all that stuff. So that's a big part, because what happens is if you wait, what's her name?
Maria.
If she waits because she is in love with a man, she will get older and not have a child. She will end up resentful towards the husband. And when you are resentful towards the man will feel that because you are no longer happy and playful. You become always nakasimangot,
Losyang.
always blaming the man. So you will end up in a failed relationship. So might as well cut the cord now if family life is not for him.
Okay, interesting.
Because we do have biological clock, my loves. Unless they are very successful, tell them, my love, you don't want to have a child, please pay for my egg freezing in Kato. It's $500,000. Let's secure the baby until you are ready.
And then what? Surrogate?
When they are ready, surrogate could be an option. But it's basically you you feel in love, but you also have to take care of the logistics. And logistics is like saving your eggs for the future. If you feel that the time will come that he will eventually say yes.
Okay, interesting.
So my love, but also protect yourself and your future kids.
Okay, I like this. Dilemma number 3 comes from Sam, 29, from Manila. This
Okay.
one is interesting. She says, I'm in my late 20s and I've been with my college boyfriend for years. He's a genuinely good guy, loyal, kind, steady, safe. But lately, I've been watching my friends date these high-value men.
Ooh.
The kind who travel, build businesses,
Ouch.
and open up new worlds. And now I'm confused. I love my boyfriend, but I can't shake the feeling that I am outgrowing him. I keep on wondering if I'm settling. And I keep on wondering if I could level up too. If I wasn't tied down. I'm starting to crave a partner who's more ambitious, more driven, more aligned with the person I'm becoming. But breaking up feels cruel. He hasn't done anything wrong. And staying feels suffocating because deep down, I know I'm changing. What do you think I should do?
2 parts, my love. First is the theft of happiness is comparison.
That is so true.
There will
Again,
always be
comparison is the thief of joy.
Yes. There will always be somebody better than your current partner. Always. But I feel like she's saying that because deep down she knows that he's not the one for her.
Okay.
And when you know deep down that that person that you're with is not the one for you, you'll end up with crazy excuses. You'll end up with you'll say something like, "Oh, I feel like we don't see each other eye to eye anymore. I feel like I have a stronger drive. I feel like I'm more ambitious." It's because you feel it in your gut, baby girl, he is not the one.
Okay.
But that's so sad.
That is so sad.
That's so sad because you've built years of being together. And the best partnerships that I've seen are couples who loved each other despite all these transitions that they've done. But baby girl, if you feel like you're settling, then your partner don't deserve to be with a partner who feels like they're Shrekking. So that makes your
Exactly.
partner basically the Shrek in the relationship. Not
Exactly.
nice.
What she said, guys. Okay, and now we are down to the last part of the show, which
Okay.
is the lesson.
The lesson.
If this is where I ask you to share one moment in your life that changed you fundamentally on how you understood love in dating. This might be from your personal life or may hugot ka ba, or like, what is one thing from your life that made you change the way you look at love?
That would be that love is not just emotions.
Ooh.
Because I've been in relationships wherein emotions are high, you felt so in love, and you feel that in love thing will not go away. But research showed that the love chemical goes out of our system more or less after 18 months.
Okay, so that's what, 2 years?
Yes, most likely to like more or less 3 years. So that change, learning all the science behind it, made me see that love is more than just emotions. It's a decision. It's a commitment. So you have to make a commitment that whether I feel like I'm in love today or not, this is the person that I'm gonna commit myself for a lifetime, and that's hard.
Is there, how come I keep on hearing this? They're in a relationship, there's like a 3-year stump, and there's a 5-month stump, a 5-year
The
stump.
7.
And is this true?
It happens. We seen the 7-year itch thing happens more than not. I feel like it's just because human beings are going through different transitions in their life. Diba, sometimes we see them go through midlife crisis, and it has nothing to do with the relationship. It has to do with 2 people growing, and you could either grow in the same direction or grow apart. So it has to do with human beings are ever changing. We are never constant. We are never going to be the same person. So the question is, can you love them despite all the changes? Because if you can't, break up with your partner right now because they will change. They
You know
will
what?
change.
But what if we grow with them?
that's the most beautiful thing. You grow with them and you accept them if they grow at the same pace as you as or not. Because some grow 10x, some grow 2x, and for them that's already their max. So can you take a partner who just grows 2x while you do 10x?
Feeling go for me, I would try to grow as much as I can.
Okay.
So we can grow together.
Yes.
Right?
And there's that factor naman wherein you get to help each other, right? So you don't just, leave like, oh, I'm doing well in this career. Like, invite them in whatever you're
That's
doing.
true.
Yeah. So it's really, there's so many components to like love, but the most important factor is, are you convinced that that person in front of you is you're the one? Because if you're convinced, then you're gonna try to work it out. But if you know, again, deep in your gut that they're not the one, you're gonna leave them and say they're not growing as much as you are growing.
Okay, last question. But
Okay.
how do you know if that person is the one?
Dr. John Gottman said it will feel like home. Like a hot cup of coffee on a Christmas evening.
Aww.
Not the chaotic butterfly, exciting, jumpy feeling, which a lot of us are craving for
That's true.
in dating. So that's it. Look for your home.
So that has been our love and dating episode with Coach Vee. Vanessa, I really enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much. And I feel like there's so many quotable quotes, and I learned so much about love and femininity and dating, and about what high value men actually want, and about catering to your soft side. And yeah, please tell the audience where we can find you, or if you're a woman, if you want to find these AFAMs, or if you're an AFAM to my AFAM friends,
Yes.
how do they get in touch with you?
Hi, everybody. I'm Vanessa Antonio, aka Coach Vee. You could visit my website at matchmakingmanila.com. We do help relationship-oriented foreigners and Filipinos find their best relationship. So if you need help in terms of just organizing that, helping you make good decisions when it comes to love and relationship, we're here to help you. So I'm also dating Coach Vee on Instagram if you want to hear more about, life and love lessons. So thank you for having me, Kylie. Congratulations again.
Thank you. So guys, if you want to send in your own dilemmas too, please feel free to drop me on my personal Instagram a message, or you can also message Almost Honest Podcast on IG. We are a baby podcast, so please support us. So with me this year. Thank you.